and good evening, or good afternoon, or good morning, wherever you may be around the world. I am Marcus Holmes, and I am excited to be here for another edition of Love and Stuff. So, if you'll take a moment, whether you are watching us live as we're emanating from the Love and Stuff community page, our Love and Stuff fam, if you are here with us on the Marcus R. Holmes page or via Restream on Twitch TV or YouTube events, please click share and tag someone to join us right now in this inbox discussion. So I hope that you will join us in this inbox discussion and click share and tag someone to join us. And just as we're getting into that and you're clicking share, I want to remind you that the Gratefulness Journey every day, what are you doing in the next 30 days to transform your life, is still available, and it is a great read. And I am so heartened by the number of you who have picked it up and actually read it, and who are leaving reviews and who are sharing with me your the way the stories and the way the book has resonated with you, as it is from my heart on the page. And so I hope that more of you will purchase the Gratefulness Journey every day. It is $6.99 as an ebook and $11.99 as a paperback. It's a short read, and I think these 70 or so pages will bless your life. There are 3 things in it that will help you to live a more grateful life. And I think we could all do a better job of living more gratefully. Thank you, Lynn Lipsey, for joining us, and others that are joining. I hope that you will click share and tag some others to join us in this discussion. All right. And I'm going to get into the topic in a moment, but I want to give you an opportunity to click share right now and hit that bell at the top of your screen. Hopefully you have a bell there, because it will notify you whenever we are going live. Tag 5 of your closest Facebook friends, 5 of your more popular Facebook friends to join us in this discussion. Many of our topics, as today's topic, comes from the inbox. And so if you want to have a topical discussion about something that you're dealing with, or you just want to hear other perspectives on, drop it in the inbox at the Love and Stuff community or Marcus R. Holmes, and we will get in the inbox and maybe ask you a few questions and then broach your topic. You can decide to come on live with me, or you can do it via anonymity. We will maintain your anonymity if you decide that. So click share and tag some folks to join us now. That will be great. All right. So I am excited to be here and to have you here. And I am just I'm at the Marcus R. Holmes page, looking at the Love and Stuff page. All right. Thank those of you that are joining us now. And so I'm excited that you are with us, those of you that are. And hey, I'm glad. All right. So I'm going to get into the topic. As Lynn Lipsey says, her husband is fine. That is me. I am the husband of Lynn Lipsey. And if she has one by holy matrimony, sorry, sir, but Lynn is I can't even call her my work wife. She ain't even my downtown wife no more. She's just my wife. And I'm so glad that she's doing better and being healed, walking and healing. And I know I don't have to go over there and make sure she is taking care of herself. All right. Listening on a couple of devices, and I'm just trying to make sure that everybody is connected. All right, going to the topic, which is in the inbox, which is from the inbox rather, but I dropped it in the comments. So you should have it even across YouTube. You should be able to read this topic. And she says, me and my husband are having a disagreement. We have been married for 8 years and we have 4 kids. 8 years. Together 9, I learned from the inbox, but married 8 years and have 4 kids during this 8-year marriage. Okay. We have both agreed that 4 is enough. It's a busy life with 2 girls and 2 boys that are so close in age, she says. Keeping them busy keeps us busy. We have a very active sex life, she says. He wants her husband, me, to get my tubes tied, and I think that he should get a vasectomy or start using condoms. Birth control has been tough for me with the side effects. So she's both taking the pill and the, I think I'm saying the right, IUD, the thing that you insert. Both of those didn't really work out for her. Don't you agree that condoms and spermicidal foams are the way? I want to hear from you. What do you think? What if you had Anybody that has children, drop a like or love in the comment, even if you're not today in love and like your children. That's okay. But drop in the comment if you've had children or you have children. Drop in the comments a like or a love. And if you have more than two, which one can be a handful, but if you have more than two, put the number of children that you have in the inbox, okay? In the comments, in the chat space. All these different platforms, I'm saying different words. All right. Because I want to hear from you. Is it the responsibility of one or the other? I mean, how do you come to terms with not wanting to have a vasectomy or not wanting to have your tubes tied? I'm not exactly sure. I was trying to think of the scientific word. Tamuk says, 2 daughters expensive as hell. Oh, Tamuk has joined us. Thank you so much, Tamuk. Click share. Lynn, click share. I see that you did click share, Lynn. Thank you so much. And I really hope that you will click share and then tag people in it before you complete the share. That way they're notified that it's live right now. Okay. So Tamuk says 2 daughters expensive as hell, he says. Okay. And so Tamuk, you've been married before. I want to ask you if you are mutually agreed upon no more children. How do you achieve that? How do you accomplish no more children if you have an active sex life and maybe neither one of you want to have any augmentations, I might use as a word? How would you go about, what's that conversation like? How should you have that conversation when you and your husband are disagreeing, or you and your wife, in this case, Tamuk, would be disagreeing about, okay, we're not going to have any more kids. Howsoever, I'm not having a snip and you're not having a tie. How do you go about that? Do you develop a strong pullout game? What do you do? Drop in the comments and share with me, what would you do? And what advice might you have for this couple? And as we often put the disclaimer, I've had some very spirited discussions in the inbox about the kinds of topics. And really, it is important to note that we are not psychologists, nor do we profess to be. But it's important to note that some of the best advice comes when you hear diverse opinions on a subject. And that's all we hope to offer. And some people say, I want a guru. Well, get a guru. And what you will find is that guru has some expertise in a sliver of the area that you want. But there are other gurus and thought leaders that have the same sliver. And wouldn't it be great to get different people who have had experience or guru status to come together and give diverse opinions? And that's all that it is. Okay. It is other people's perspectives that might influence yours. And it's a bigger part of life than I think people even realize. But it's an important part because as you are living, you are not in a vacuum. And you should open your ears and open your eyes to hear and see more than what you're accustomed to seeing. That's kind of a foray into next week's show, where we're going to talk a little bit more about relationship stuff, a little bit more about the romance of friendships, because some people are passing by some extraordinary opportunities under the guise that he just my friend, she just my friend. So that's next week. But this is the possibility to give people insight who are seeking it. And even yourself might get some insight from some saying, I never thought of it that way. So share widely, share broadly. Ultimately, if we're both against self-sterilization, then it's basically left up to God and y'all pull out and sock game. Okay. I've heard of the pull out game. You'll have to tell me about the sock game. I feel like it's going to be vivid, so I don't want to know it now. But I guess the sock is the condom. I guess help me out. Should you ask your spouse to do an augmentation of his or her body? Is that a fair ask? Is it a fair ask to say to your husband, well, we don't want no more children, so you're going to have to get a vasectomy. Is that a fair ask? Is it fair to ask a man or woman to augment their body to stop reproduction? Is that a fair ask? I want to hear from you. And those of you that are just joining us, I hope you will click share and tag someone. I'm Marcus Holmes, the facilitator of the Love and Stuff community, a great place to be. And you have an opportunity to, while we have just 21 people who have joined inside of Love and Stuff, you have an opportunity to join our newest group called Inside of Love and Stuff, where there'll be special content just for you. And you'll have an opportunity to meet the people that are in the Love and Stuff community. So don't forget to stop by the Love and Stuff page and join the Love and Stuff Inside of Love and Stuff group. We also have our newest offering, which is Sports Talk with Kamal and Felix, coming up this Saturday at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. You don't want to miss these sports heads. They love sports. And ladies, if you like sports or if you don't, there are men that are joining this group coming to sports. Watch what I'm doing. I'm bringing love, the love of sports, to Love and Stuff. And something, a touchdown is bound to happen. A home run is bound to happen. A three-pointer is going into double overtime. All right. Tamuk says, of course you can ask. Don't mean it will happen, but you most certainly have the right to ask. Let me ask this, Tamuk. Thank you for that. What gives you the right to ask someone to do something with their body? Is that something that comes in the covenant of marriage, that you should have the right to ask your spouse to do anything because their body now belongs to you? What's the thinking, the theory, the principle behind that? I just want to hear your opinion. And I hope those of you that are like Tamuk and like Lynn Lipsy are clicking share, I hope, and tagging some folks to join us in this discussion. We're talking from the inbox. There's a couple that have this disagreement. They don't disagree about active love life. They love that. They don't disagree that they've been blessed with 4 beautiful children in 8 years. They don't disagree with that. They disagree with the method or methods that should be employed to prevent having any more children. And Tamuk says, of course you can ask the other person to augment their bodies or stave the reproductive process. You must certainly have the right to. And I wanted to hear from him and hear from you because she's saying, no, I don't want to have, I can't think of the word, tube type. I can't think of the scientific word. And he said, no, I don't want to have snip, snip. I don't want to have a vasectomy. People say snip, snip. Maybe you could do this. And she's been unsuccessful with birth control. Well, not unsuccessful. She's had some pretty bad side effects and complications from the types of birth control, pill and IUD, I believe is the other one, that she's utilized. And so she's saying to him, hey, the option is get some condoms, get some of that spermicidal foam, and let's work with those two things. And so I want to hear from you. Does that, if your spouse said, hey, I don't want to have any more children, you say, yeah, I'm good. We got 4, no more. Would you feel some kind of way if he offered you to have your tubes tied? Would you feel some kind of way? The ability to be able to ask comes with the relationship. Okay. The right to decline is up to the individual personal rights based in health and beliefs. Okay. Okay. I hear that. I love to hear if someone else thinks the same or differently, that the ability to ask comes with the relationship. Are there things that you should not ask of your spouse? So are there things you should not ask of your spouse? Is it an affront to ask of your spouse to have her tubes tied? Is it an affront to ask of your spouse to have a vasectomy? That's the question. And Tamuk is saying the ability to ask these questions comes with the relationship. All right. See, Tiffany Funderburk has come. One of the entrepreneurs in this Metro Detroit area with a cold stone. I have to get over there myself. I may have to go live once I get there so that the Love and Stuff community can see me there. It could be a conversation, but respect the response. Okay. All right. And so I want to ask you, Valencia, thank you for joining us. Mama V in our community, who is V Encouragement Ministries, every Tuesday morning at 10:45 Central Standard Time, 11:45 Eastern Standard, and figure out all the other places that you may be, what time it would be. If you all agreed, Valencia, your husband, you all agreed that you weren't having any more children, and he said, okay, the way that we do that is for you to have your tubes tied. Would that land on you some kind of way that he didn't offer himself and say, I'll get a vasectomy? Does that land on you some kind of way? Because in this inbox, it's landing on the wife, and from her perspective, it's landing on the husband some kind of way that she's asking him. He's like, no, it should be you. And she's saying, no, it should be you. And they're having a disagreement about it because both of them kind of feel some kind of way that the other is trying to require it of the other or asking it of the other. So how would you feel, Valencia, if your husband said, yeah, I agree with you, we're not going to have no more kids, so you need to go get your tubes tied. When can we go? Would you feel some kind of way that he didn't say, well, what should we do? Should I do, or should you, or should we both? What should we do? It's no different than me being able to ask to have her tubes untied to have another child with me because I don't have a namesake. Okay. And it would be no different unless you said, well, I'm going to undo my vasectomy, right? Because if you're both at a place where you've made a decision about, when you both come to terms and make a decision together not to do something or to do something, and one or the other could take an action, is that the same? Whoever is the one that is adamant should be the one willing to alter themselves. That's a great point. Thank you so much. Leroy Hurd has joined us. Thank you, sir. I think prayers and blessings to you. I hope you are doing well. All right. I hope those of you that have joined us will click share, tag 5 of your closest Facebook friends, 5 of your more popular Facebook friends, or Twitch TV followers, or YouTube connections to join us in this discussion from the inbox. Couple that has been married 8 years. They've been together 9. They have 4 children in their 8 years, 2 sons, 2 daughters. And they said 4 and no more. We're not having any more children. They've agreed on that. Where they cannot agree is, so how do we keep that from happening? And he says, simple, you get your tubes tied. And she says, even simpler, you get a vasectomy. And he says, no, you should get your tubes tied. And she says, no, you should get a vasectomy. And she says, well, if we can't come to that terms because birth control has provided her, brought complications and side effects, she says, well, maybe we should just opt to condoms and spermicidal foam, something like that. Tamuk says, maybe you learn your pull out and side game. What do you say? What would you say for this couple? What would you say? And I'm really interested to know if you would feel some kind of way, as Valencia is saying, if the adamant person is saying, no, it should be you, instead of being willing to augment or alter themselves and say, no, it should be you. Would you feel some kind of way if your spouse said, you need to tie your tubes, or if your spouse said, you need to get a vasectomy, instead of offering him or herself? What would you say? How would you feel? Darrell Dawson has joined us. Thank you, sir, for joining us here at Love and Stuff. He said, that's just as bad as the husband saying you use birth control and I'm going to wear a condom. It should be his or her right to choose, and it should not be any pressure by either spouse. I think that's a great point, sir. Thank you so much. And thank you so much for joining us. I'm interested to know, it's fascinating to me. Of course, people that know me know that Autumn is my child, but not by birth. I don't think I could love a child more, but I don't have that comparison, but people that know me know that I don't believe in birth control. And so that's presented a lot of problems for me throughout my life. Film at 11, but I don't believe in that. I believe that you're either going to do it in the covenant of marriage, and if you're not going to be in the covenant of marriage, you're opening yourself up literally to being caught out there, right? Now, I know there are a plethora of diseases and things like that, and hopefully, if you and I learn to believe in, subscribe to covenant sexual relations, hopefully you have two monogamous people, right? Practicing monogamy, right? So that would be hard. It's hard for me to fathom saying, what? If we had 10 children, God must be willing to allow us to provide. That's silly me. But I can understand people make the choice. Hey, one is too many. One is enough. Two is too many. 3, 4 in this day and time. Woo. I believe that is that couple's right to say it, though it goes against maybe the be fruitful and multiply. But if you decide that you're not going to be fruitful or you're not going to multiply, you're going to have plenty of fruit to eat. But if you decide that you're not going to multiply, I'm to Darrell's point. Should you be saying to the other person, no, this one on you. You work that out. When can I take you to the appointment? Valencia says, sounds like the struggle is going to interrupt their intimacy. I can only imagine that, Valencia. I asked that question because she says in the inbox, we have a great sex life. Sex life is not a problem. I said, well, how does that work? And I kind of chuckled to myself, well, we know how it works. Right? We know how it works. But how do you maintain no more children, but you're going to have active sex? And her thinking is, if he's serious about it, he's going to take some measures, and we'll try to explore other birth control things that won't give her some of the reactions. I won't go into those necessarily, or complications, but something that she can, participate in as well. And she'll see how he feels if she reaches for the drawer and say, do you have, and see how he responds. Let her use birth control, and I'm not wearing a condom. That's okay. That's okay, me side. That's one-sided. Yeah. Yeah. So I agree with you. In this case, however, Darrell, the birth control that she's tried, the two options she's tried have either had side effects or she's had serious complications from them. So she's kind of concerned about the two that she's aware of. And maybe she will explore more. But if that's the case and it's presented some complications in the past, some of which could be, life-threatening, what do you do? I mean, he could come back and say, if it were true, I'm allergic to whatever they make condoms out of these days. He said, I'm allergic. Now, I don't know that he should say that or would, but I'm just being devil's advocate. But what do you do? I mean, does it leave you with a pull-out game? What do you do? What would you do? That's what I want to ask you all. What would you do? Okay, and while you're doing that, I want to again mention, and Valencia, I need a copy of your book as well. I need to get it. How about that? Gratefulness Journey Every Day. What are you doing in the next 30 days to transform your life is available now on Amazon, Kobo, and Barnes & Noble. And Amazon, the paper book is available there. It's $11.99. As you can see, it's a short read. It's about 70 pages, but it's some good stuff in here. And I hope that you will put to use 3 principles in here around your gratefulness. I had to put that in there. I have it. I do have it somewhere. Where's it at? You autographed it, didn't you? Okay, I'm going to get it together. All right, Lynn Lipsy, I see that your connection's dropping. Try to come back in. All right. So what would you do? My 40-year-old is a product of the failed birth control of foam and condoms. Come on, failure. Leave me alone. He should get fixed. It's easier than her getting her tubes tied, and the surgery has less healing time for him as well. Now, do you feel at all, Lynn? Do you feel at all that you are saying that what you're saying is a little biased? Do you feel that at all, that you're saying he should get fixed is easier? Easier for whom? Listen, they aren't kids. The reality is if one of them don't make the ultimate long-term decision, then they're going to have more children. Maybe, you're right when you said earlier, God is the one. So you might have 10, or God might say, no, I meant no more. Right? It could be, right? Chances are, though, if she's fertile and myrtle, and he's got a ram like Abraham, they're going to still have children. But I think in relationships, and you all chime in here, those of you that are married, have been married, have been in relationships, all of those great things. That's one of the joys and genius, if it is, of Love and Stuff. It's the collective, it's the melting pot of all of these different perspectives in relationships. If in your relationship you don't have to come to compromise at some point, is that really progressing in the relationship? I think is the way I want to ask the question. Because every relationship is going to have something where you say potato and she says tomato. And at some point, somebody's going to have something in between, or maybe neither of the two, right? So how do you work through something where you have a disagreement, and maybe right now it's not a big disagreement, but you have a disagreement that you have to work through, where you are diametrically opposed to each other? Because that's what comes to bear, whether they're young, married, older, married. You have two different ideas about what should happen, and you feel very adamant. I'll use Valencia's word. How do you go about working through that? The husband needs to fix it, but getting fixed. The husband needs to fix it, but getting fixed or use a condom. He should be considerate of her health issues, and she has given him 4 beautiful children. Got it. I think I got it. The husband needs to fix it, but getting fixed or use by getting fixed. I think I got it. By getting fixed or using the condom. So you think you're the opposite of, well, you and Lynn are kind of on the same place. Let them handle it. Yes. And I'll have to speak to another brother, not my blood brother, but another brother that I know. The brother I spoke to, who I know has had a vasectomy, because I kind of, in the inbox ask other people's opinion without divulging all the facts, because I'm maintaining people's anonymity if they so desire. And what he said is his concern about having the vasectomy is he didn't know how he would feel and or perform after having it. That was his fear and concern, even though he talked to counselors and different things. He had a fear about the vasectomy, about how it would impact his ability, his libido, and all of that. So I'm wondering, are there any brothers out there that have the same thinking and would think, I'm so sure. They say you'd be all right, but will I? And whether that factors into you saying, and maybe the woman could say the same thing. Tubes tied made my libido, made my drive go down. What's in that conversation if it's you? If it's you, what's in that conversation? Because you may have to, like Tamu say, just come on and get it together. Or you may have to make some kind of compromise at some point. What do you do? All right. It's 9:01. And I want to remind you, while you're thinking of that and while you're pondering who you could share and tag to get in this conversation, because I know that's what you're doing, you should join us inside of Love and Stuff. I'm Marcus Holmes. I am the facilitator of Love and Stuff, and I am on a mission to increase the amount of love in my life, in my family, in my community, in my world, because I know I need to increase the amount of love because I am a follower of the quintessential love, and he wouldn't have it any other way. For me to love him with all of my mind, body, and soul, and my neighbor as myself. So I'm working on self-love and self-care. And the Love and Stuff community is an amazing place to do that. And not just, some people are seeking, because we've done 36 questions that lead to love, which still people are saying, bring it back. And I need more people to bring it back. And I've got a new 35 questions that move you from platonic to the center of friendship romance, which that show's coming up. But the Love and Stuff community is a great place for people to find brotherly, sisterly love, to find family love. And while we are so spread around this country and world, there are people in the Love and Stuff community that will just love on you. So you want to join inside of Love and Stuff, because we will have a weekly time that we just come together in the messenger room and just affirm the love, get to know each other, share things that you would inside of a community, to have a chance to talk with people more than just be moderating. Okay. And I hope that you will do that today before you leave. Karen Poole has joined us. Hey, we've been missing you. I think you're an empty kind of nester, I think. And so I've been just following a few of the posts and thinking of you and praying for you. So I'm glad to see you here. You have to work through it like any other problem. Yes, if libido decreases, get a sex coach to help you and your partner work through things. You know what's funny about that, Karen? Not really funny, but funny. I happened to watch Tyler Perry's Sisters, and the husband had a sex coach. Of course, the wife walked in, didn't know he had a sex coach. Not wife, fiance, walked in not knowing he had a sex coach, and they were simulating sex. They were dressed, but it was hilarious. And so that came to mind when you said they get a sex coach, but not a bad idea. Lynn says, I have several male friends. You do? Oh, I'm sorry. That has had it done, and in conversation with them, they loved the decision because it took away the worry of making unwanted babies and actually increased their sex drive. Lynn, connect me to them. I want to get them on the show. That's a good show topic. I can say if I was in that position, Darrell says, I would get fixed because I love my wife that much. Come on, love your wife. You about to get some extra brownie points for that one, buddy. There you go. And that's good. Vicki Johnson Williams, thank you for joining us. I hope all of you that are here will click, share, and tag someone to join us in the discussion. 5 of your closest Facebook friends, 5 of your more popular Facebook friends, YouTube event followers, or Twitch TV connections to join us in this discussion straight from the inbox. If the thing that you're disagreeing about is who should get fixed because you have 4 and you don't want any more, what is that conversation like? What's that conversation like when you are happy with your 4 beautiful children that you've had over 8 years, which kind of says, hey, we kind of hit, we make babies over here, right? And so you have 4 children. You've decided, hey, I love having these 4, but no more. But your wife is having a challenge with birth control, has over her life. In times that she's tried it, has been very challenging for her health. Okay. You don't want to get a vasectomy. She doesn't want to have her tubes tied. What do you do? What do you do? And how do you have that conversation? It's easy for folks like Darrell. He says, I'm gonna get fixed. I'm gonna be the one. And because I love her so much, I'm going to take that sacrifice. Lynn says, it's a good thing. It'll make your sex drive go up, which I won't say I'm pleased to hear that, but I'm glad that that information is out there, that there are some men who say it increased my sex drive. That's encouraging. That's encouraging to hear. I want to hear some more from the ladies. I want to know, do you think that you would feel like he's trying to tell you what you're doing, what to do with your body. What are there any ladies out there that would feel that way? Because that's kind of how she expressed how she's feeling. Like, wait a minute, you're trying to tell me what to do with my body. It's my decision, just like it's your decision, even though you're not offering. And at some point, you want to empty nest, more to life than just children. So if we can't compromise, that lends to a bigger problem. That's one of the questions that I have, Karen. How do you work through something where you're diametrically opposed to something that you both regard as life changing? Because this could be life changing, right? If you have 5 kids and you feel like, okay, we got to work more. Sometimes people feel that way, to provide for 5 instead of, okay, we need to cut back on our lifestyle or change it. Some people say, well, now we need overtime, or we need another job, or we need to do this. We need to stretch, right? Because we have more. And so it would change your life. Anybody who has one knows that one child has changed your life for the good and the great and the better, but it requires some sacrifice, right? 2 children, change your life. Twins, Lord have mercy, change your life, right? 3 children, 2, 4, and 6. Imagine have a 2, 4, and 6-year-old, right? Changes your life. 2, 4, 6, 8 changes your life, right? So, this is a decision different than some decisions might not have as maybe what is considered a monumental impact, right? Some decisions you might say, hey, we're going to go, well, for some people that'd be monumental. I'm trying to think of one that wouldn't be. Some people say going to this church versus this church would be monumental. It's those decisions like that where you have really strong beliefs or thoughts about something, and you find that you're on the opposite end of that with somebody that you really love. How do you work through that where you don't feel like you're giving up something that you might feel is unreversible? So people say you can reverse it and it may or may not work, or it may work 80% where it was working 100%, right? Some people say it's successfully reversed, but no one says 100% of all reversals are successful. I've talked to a few folks, not 100%. So while it is a high probability, it isn't always the highest. It doesn't always happen. So you're talking about something that may not be as easily reversed as we think. And there might be some fear around that, right? How do you work through that conversation? That's what I'm asking, and I'm hoping that you're answering. It's 9:09, and I am glad you are here. We are in the Love and Stuff community, where we emanate every Tuesday night at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I am Marcus Holmes, the facilitator of Love and Stuff. And listen, it's a great community to be in. We had a wonderful show last week because you helped the organic reach grow by 35%. We saw thousands of views. We don't see thousands of views anymore. I think people are Facebook fatigued, and those that aren't, that's okay. We love you and we appreciate you. We're hoping that you'll share the content. But it's a great community and great place to broach topics. And if you want to drop a topic in the inbox, go to the Love and Stuff community inbox. Any topic around love and stuff. That's pretty broad. And the reason that it is because we have so much love and stuff to do. We need to be loving and getting our stuff together to increase the amount of love in this world. So I'm looking at the inbox and I'm hoping to hear from you. You can decide to join me on the show when it's your topic, here live with me in the studio, or you can just stay anonymous and just hear the feedback and perspectives of others. Hopefully that if it's your situation or a situation that you may deal with, you can add these perspectives into your tools and resources so that you will be able to have the kind of love unlike you've ever imagined. And so we hope that you will go to the Love and Stuff page, click follow, go to the groups section there, and there's a group named Inside of Love and Stuff. We want you to join there so that you can get to know us and we can get to know you as you're a part of a wonderful family of love and community. All right, back to the comments. Is he just afraid? Or what is his reason for asking her to do it instead of him going to get it done? Does age have a factor? I think that there is a little fear attached to it, that things won't just be the same. And but she senses that he thinks that it is her responsibility, that because she's the woman and she carries the baby, that it's her responsibility. That's how she is looking at it. And sometimes, because we are looking at our perspective, sometimes we're not as open to seeing the other person's perspective. Right, wrong, ugly, or indifferent, it requires us to be open and self-aware. And I feel like that I'm coaching in emotional intelligence right now. Forgive me if I slipped into human resources. But once you understand your triggers and your emotions and how they show up in you, and you're able to mirror back to yourself. So when you're upset, you should immediately go to a mirror, or most women can probably pull a mirror out their purse. Some cell phones have mirrors. You can put a mirror app and look at how you show up. Is your nostrils flaring? Are you having trouble breathing? What is your face contorted? Because you have to become aware of your emotions in order to master your emotions and express yourself with some measure of control. You got to know your emotions. So if it's a trigger in your relationship, that sometimes when it comes to children or sex or things around that, that your husband exerts some lordship at that point that maybe he doesn't exert in other areas, and that's a trigger for you, you got to recognize that. You got to say, I'm triggered because he's expecting me to be something in this relationship that maybe we haven't fully explored, fully agreed to, fully understood, and I'm triggered. We must know our triggers, and we must master when they're pulled, right? And so you can be in some relationship with somebody that loves and have these triggers, and believe it or not, the people that you love most and admire most can pull and push your triggers easiest. Okay. And some of them not because they know what your triggers are, but because you're most vulnerable to them. Okay. Their opinion, their thought of you matters more, right? It either validates something in you or invalidates something in you sometimes. And so you have to be mindful of your emotions, right? Because if you aren't mindful of those emotions and able to master them, you will only act out of them without the cerebral part of your thinking, right? You'll be locked in fight or flight if you're just in emotions versus unlocking that part of your mind that does the critical thinking. Yeah, and anything that compromises health challenges should not be up for discussion. That's not fair. Selflessness, Karen, not because of you, but that was you're tapping right into what I was thinking. There are women that are triggered, and sometimes men, with the use of lordship and considerationship is not in use yet, because sometimes we are in roles in relationships, but we've never fully explored those roles. We've just assumed them. There's just some things a wife is going to do and a husband is going to do. There's some sacrifices a wife is going to make and a husband is going to make, right? And so unless we fully explore those, you can be triggered when out of somewhere I said, but I'm the husband. You're like, well, hold on. I'm the Lord. Hold on. Your body belongs to me. Hold on. Because if you don't fully explore those things and you have different thoughts about those things, when it comes up, and it's coming up first in your limbic system, right? You're feeling the presence of energy before you're able to articulate what you're feeling. You're feeling that your personhood is being affronted, that you're no longer a partner, that there's some hierarchy here in this relationship. And there might be in some relationships, but if you haven't fully explored that, it can trigger you. And that's why, communication is a common thread in love and stuff. You got to talk through it, but you also have to explore it. You have to explore these roles. Even, I asked her a little bit about Well, you said the kids are busy and that keeps you busy. Who's most busy with the kids? She said, I am. Because he expects if somebody needs to be dropped off at a practice or picked up from a recital or in this program, that I'm the mom, I should do it. I said, are you both working outside home? We're both working outside the home. Have you explored these roles? Because maybe what you're saying to him is, I'm giving more in this relationship and you're not willing to give a simple vasectomy. Now, maybe she didn't articulate that, but if that's what you're thinking, every time he pushes back, you feel as if your personhood is being affronted. And so you have to explore it. You have to explore the relationships. Thanks, Coach Pam Bass, for joining us. She says, if neither are willing to have surgery, then condoms and spermicides are the way to go up until after menopause, it seems. I think they got to do something, like Tamuk said, do something, or you're going to have a strong pull-out in sock game. I got to find out for sure what sock game is. Just want to make sure. You have to be present in the conversation and the relationship. Excellent, 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 excellent. Make that a hashtag. I love that. Be honest and transparent. I love that. Presence in the conversation and the relationship. I love that, because I think that's so true. I think that, not with all of the detail that I know, because there's a ton of detail more, but I think that oftentimes when we get this, I'm going to use these two fingers as being diametrically opposed to each other, right? You're on opposite ends of something that you have to come to a middle to a compromise, to an understanding. Sometimes our thoughts about why we are here have never been articulated. They're acted out, even if in your limbic system. I believe that. I believe that if you are feeling angry, even if you're not showing anger, your limbic system, the energy is your limbic resonance is already saying you're angry. Somebody that's savvy enough or knows you well already knows it, but they can feel it before they know what they're feeling. And so imagine having this constantly in a relationship where you have this undercurrent of how you're feeling, but you're not articulating it. And you have this desire to come to some middle, but you can't get there because you are sending these contrary messages about staying right here, right? Adamant, as Valencia said earlier, about where you are. You got to have this emotional and psychological safety in your relationship to be able to have discussions, which goes back to Tamuk's point. I don't know if I fully agree with him, the right to ask. I think you have the right to you have the right to ask. You don't have the right to ask of necessarily. I don't know if you have the right to ask of somebody, you do this with your body instead of me doing it with mine. I don't know if you have the right to ask of, but you should be vulnerable enough to be able to have the conversations and say, I think it would be better for us if you did, and here's why. I think you do need to develop that kind of emotional safety where the other person doesn't feel like it's an affront, because 9 times out of 10, I know that's a statistic, right? 9 times out of 10, people are moving in the energy that they feel long before they tell you. And so if we become savvy in relationships of feeling the energy of the other person, watching the behaviors and changes in behavior of the other person, then we know how to start having conversations about what they're feeling. And it starts, I'm wondering if me asking you to do this made you feel like you had less power or clout in this relationship. And if it did, baby, I'm sorry. I'm scared. I want to be Abraham that has a strong ram, and I think this vasectomy might do something to me. See, long before you articulate that, you're sending energy in your relationship. We are all doing it, even if our specific concern isn't around 4 and no more. In our relationships, you are feeling some kind of way already. And limbic resonance, though, that energy is like a sound wave, and it's in the atmosphere. And the other person can feel it, but they may not be able to articulate it the first time or even the second time, sometimes not the third time. But they're feeling something, that something has changed. They're feeling something has changed. And if that person is your spouse, somebody that you live with, now there are studies out there that people, I'm sorry, I heard something in my window. People that are in shared experiences, such as in the same room, same bed, same something, for more than 2 hours, that those people, whether or not they felt different when they were separate, after 2 hours, they have the shared mood because of the limbic resonance. Before you're speaking it, you're feeling it, and your body is responding, and it's putting that response in the atmosphere around you. I was trying not to say atmosphere because sometimes that sounds spooky to people, but it's true. It's energy that's in your relationship that you can use to address what's going on in the other person in the relationship instead of not paying attention to it. I'm going to come right back to that. But in my mind, I had to say this aside. As we talk later about relationships, people are doing the same thing. That's why I've been saying over these course of years that there's love all around us. There's love all around us. And love is speaking to you through the energy of the other person. And you can't always articulate it. Ever felt something from that? Somebody said, I just can't explain how I feel. That's that energy speaking to you. And you have a choice to hear it, deny it, ignore it. And so many times we're passing by opportunities because we're not tuned into the energy. We feel it. We don't acknowledge it. That's an aside from, that's not central to today's conversation, but I had to put that in there because the more I talk to people, a lot of people in the love and stuff community and around the community say, I want love, I want love, I want love. You're talking about this, I need you to talk about love. I need you to do love class, love class, love class. And I said, okay, and we're going to do self-care. And, I've been talking about that. I'm working on getting it together. Maybe not enough hands or hands in too many things, but however, because I think key to loving somebody else is loving yourself. Key to loving yourself is loving God. And everybody ain't there with me. I understand that. I ain't mad at you. You don't acknowledge God. I don't think God exists for you to acknowledge him. I think you should acknowledge him because he exists. But his purpose isn't, hey, acknowledge me. I don't think that's why God is here. Okay? But I think we get it the wrong way. I'm ready to love out there, but there's no love in here. Right? But what I've been saying as of recent, but what about the mailman that you said was attracted to you? Oh, he liked everybody. Now, where's the evidence they liked everybody? He stayed 10 minutes at the next house. Did you watch him? He's got a job. He's got a pension. He's got his own car. He's not in jail. He's attracted to you and you're attracted to him. Not saying go out there and get the mailman. Don't say that. Marcus said, go get your mailman. I didn't say that. But that was just one example of somebody who I said, hey, how's the mailman? Oh, he's fine. I saw him yesterday. Could run down everything about the mailman, when he going on vacation, where he traveled to. Well, you all have a lot of talk in common. Did you ever think about traveling with him? No, he's the mailman. I said, is that a bad job? He wears shorts to work. I said, is that a bad thing? Do they cash his check differently at the bank, or his pension is not going to be as good? Wow, I don't think nothing serious about that. But all of the energy is telling you that this man has some thought for you. And there are many different instances like that where we're passing by opportunities. And not just for love, for friendship. There are some adults that are longing for adult interaction. Some divorcee, some married woman who has, her husband has a bunch of friends, but she's moved to an area where none of her friends are. And we pass by opportunities, though the energy is welcoming us to come into it. another show. As we get to 9:26, and I'm going to promise to close on time today. I'm going to promise. I'm going to hope to get there in 4 minutes. If I were this husband, and I say if, because as I stated earlier, I don't believe in contraception. Now, some people have told me that is the most naive, barbaric thing. Say what it is. I believe if I'm going to abstain outside of the covenant of marriage, I messed that up too many times to share it with you. But if I'm going to say that I'm going to keep myself in any way for a covenant relationship, the reason that I'm going to be in the covenant relationship is because I don't have to worry about any disease and all of that. We can get those tests and whatever we can do and then be monogamous. So there is no need. And if God said 10 children, we'd have 10. If he said 4 children, we'd have 4. If he said 2, we'd have 2. That's my belief. But if I were this man, I would say something similar to what I said earlier. I see how important this is to you not to have your tubes tied. And maybe my approach to this made you feel like I was lording over you, that I was disregarding your personhood as my equal and partner. I love you and our 4 children, and I'm willing to try the condoms and spermicide or try to explore other birth control. And let's see how that goes for us. And then if it comes to a point where I learn some more about this vasectomy and I feel comfortable, then I will consider that. But I don't want you to do anything that you feel is a violation to you. But I want us to come to a meeting of the minds about whatever we're going to do, because I want to enjoy sex until Jesus says, come on home. Now that's kind of how I would say. And if I were her, and if I felt it was an affront to my personhood, I would say, you know, you're insisting that I do it instead of you is an affront to me. It's like you have the decision to lord over my body and make decisions for me. And that just isn't right or fair. So let's try, while I explore other birth control options, if there are any that aren't going to create complications for me, let's start with the condoms and spermicide and let's see where we get. Because I enjoy you making love to me. And I don't want to sacrifice that. But we got to come together and understand how we've defined these roles may have to change a little bit. See, I believe we're sending energy. Our emotions are responding to both our fears and our convictions. And when your fears and convictions are pricked or triggered, the goal is to master them so that you show up in a way to be able to critically think about what's really important to the relationships and the people that are in them. We have to be careful. Now, God made us as an emotional being, but he made us that we'd have the highest mastery of emotional intelligence than any other creature on this earth. And he's given us the capacity to be our most emotionally intelligent when we recognize, own, and master our emotions. And the better that we do that in relationships, the better off and healthier our relationships will be. Thank you so much. I'm going to go through the comments real quick. We're at 9:30. Pam says her mailman is fine. Modera, thank you for joining us, sir. Blessings and healing to you. Tie the tubes and snip the cords, unless, of course, you think you'll want kids with a new spouse once should you divorce. If that's the case, both parties should protect themselves. Great point. That's a fair point. God God says 1 and 3, so did I. Oh, he said 1 less. I'm missing a part of it, Pam, but you got, I think I understand you saying God gave you what you need. And so I hope that, thank you, Valencia, for joining us. I hope that you will click share and tag 5 of your closest Facebook friends, 5 of your more popular Facebook friends, that you will go to our Love and Stuff page and click follow if you haven't already. But today's call to action is for you to go to the Love and Stuff page under groups and click inside of Love and Stuff. Join that group so that you can meet people like Karen and Mama V and Darren and so many others that are in our group. And you'll have a chance to meet the people in the community besides in the comments. You get a chance once a week to just kind of hang out for a little bit with them, say hello. You'll be amazed at the wonderful people that you have the opportunity to be connected to. It's a great community, and I invite you to join us by joining Inside of Love and Stuff. And just before we go, on Saturday at 11 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, 10 o'clock Central Standard Time, Sports Talk with Kamal and Felix. You don't want to miss these two sports heads. And even if you're not a sports head, especially ladies, there are approximately 140 people who've joined their group already and a lot of brothers. So ladies, I'm just saying, I'm trying to bring sports to love and love to sports. That's all I'm doing. I'm a love activist. Wherever I can get some love in there. And so if you want to learn about sports, Kamal is doing some education on different sports. He gives some little educational aspects. And if you want to be that way, when you're sitting with your bae, your boo, and you're sitting at the game, you can say, now, which team is what? You'll be able to spit some knowledge. And you can be like, brothers like a knowledgeable sister about sports. And some brothers just like a sister who's just right there and wouldn't mind watching it with them. Sports Talk with Kamal and Felix. It's for the brothers with sisters. It's for the sisters that like sports but sisters. Sports Talk with Kamal and Felix. As you know, Kamal is one of our associate producers, and he's now hosting his own show. And so I'm so proud of what he's doing. He's really excited about it. And Felix is my nephew, and they're both sports heads. And they're going to be coming out with some sports talk gear, and I hope you will support that. Speaking of which, and I'm done. I'm 4 minutes past my time. If you go to our Love and Stuff page, it should take you to our Shopify page. We have some Shopify masks, 2 designs that you can purchase. 35% always goes to charity. Listen, whether you are vaccinated or not, God bless you. Get all of the information and make the decision that's right for your health. It could be vaccinated, but you need to talk to your doctor. I am not your doctor. But whether you're vaccinated or not, wear a mask, especially when you're indoors in public with other folks. Wear a mask. And so we decided to go ahead and do a mask because we want everybody to wear a mask as we navigate these Delta variants, Epsilon variants, whatever you want to call them. As we get through them, wear your mask. Especially if you're not vaccinated, but even if you are, please get a mask, wear a mask. And we want you to be safe wherever you are around the world. We're praying for your safety, and we're praying that the love that envelops us all will help us all to be awakened to the ways to be more safe. Our Marcus Holmes is 935. Thank you for joining, whether you are with us on the Love and Stuff page from which we emanate, on the Marcus R. Holmes page. If you're on YouTube events or Twitch TV, have a grateful evening. I am so glad that you've joined us. Join us every Tuesday at 8:30 p.m. Next week, we're going to be talking about the friendship of romance. I'm still concerned and convinced more than concerned, that there are love opportunities all around us. And I'm not only talking about boo and bae love. Some of you want friends. You don't have adult friends. You don't have other mothers. There are opportunities around you. You have to be awakened to them. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that and some questions that you can ask people that you just met who you're not seeking to fall in love with necessarily, right? Just so that you can build some connections. Everybody needs to be connected. And in this pandemic, we've been so separated. So I want to make sure that you're still building good connections. And so I want to share some of that with you next week. So I hope you'll come back. Special thing will happen on Thursday around 8:30 this week. You saw she's cooking something, right? Well, one of the cooks, Chic Cooks, Yashika Holston, will be doing a pop-up shop here in the Detroit area. So I'm going to have her on live to talk a little bit about that. And maybe she'll fix something good for you to see how well she cooks. But you can go to her page and you can pre-order if you're in the Detroit area. And if you're anywhere else, she ships. Get you some good food now. She's cooking something. And I want to talk to you a little bit about it on Thursday. Have a grateful evening. I'm sorry, 9:37. Join our group. Go join the group right now. I'm getting ready to close out, but I want you to go join the group right now and tag someone once you get there. Go join it right now. Right now.